Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boys. Sound right, boys. it sound right, boy.
You have to switch. Wow. This is a test of the emergency broadcast channel. If this was a real emergency, you would have to seek shelter immediately. Hey, Bob. Hey, everybody. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but I am being blamed for it. I did all the setup this morning, and Handy Dandy just rolled in and was going to hit the button, and didn't work. It's all me. So because we're now 20 minutes late, and I'll have to correct all that thumbnail and links and everything, I apologize. Thanks for sticking with us. We're happy we were able to get it up. And instead of wasting all kinds of time on intro, I think we should probably get into it. So there's not even time for go time today. So no G's oration. Let's just get Eco and Elite on, all the way from the UK. What's up, gents?
You right, Gino?
How you doing, Gino?
Hey, everybody. In case you don't know, which I'm sure everybody has a poster of Jay in their bedroom right above the bed. So everybody knows Jay from Elite Geckos. And I'd like to introduce George from Elite Geckos. George is one of the maybe the premier supergiant breeder in the UK. Should I say Europe? Should I say Asia? Should I say the world? What is it? Come on, man. Take it over. Jay's got the best black knights in the world. Don't sell yourself short.
I know someone's got to take over at some point. I mean, I love a big gecko. It's always been something I loved. I mean, Jay's had one off of me. It's something so satisfying, and just watching this gecko just grow. I've been breeding super giants since 2017. And I just absolutely adore them. I think they're amazing. I think they're a colour enhancer. I don't think I've ever bumped into a dull giant at all. Just love them. Absolutely love them.
They get big fast.
They do.
They get big really fast. I wore this for George. Super giant size matters. LunaGeckos.shop. I gotta send you. Jay, I still owe you a shirt, so I'll send both. I'll send George a shirt. I'll send you a shirt. Woo! You guys gotta talk for a second, because this this technical thing. I thought that I was gonna get death threats and hate mail, and everybody's been waiting for this thing. This is the most hyped up show we've ever done, and the freaking link didn't work. So we adapt. We figured it out. We're good. So George, we're excited to have you on. I used to work with super giants. I love them. My issue was a space issue. They got big so fast. I mean, at 3-4 months, these things were 30-40 grams. And out of a baby bin, into an adult bin, and my space was just getting burned up. So it takes commitment, takes some extra resources, because they eat like a python. So you got to feed them a lot. You got to have space for them. How long you been working with the Giants?
I've been working with the Giants since 2017. I mean, I sort of stumbled across them. I had a friend of mine message me and said he knew somebody who had just imported them and wanted to get out of the hobby. And as most of us know, when we first get into leopard geckos, to spend anything over £150, £200, it's like, what am I doing? And I took the risk. I think I paid £750 at the time for a pair. And honestly, it was probably the best thing I've ever done. And I found my love, my passion for leopard geckos in the Giants, just how they grow. And we and Jay had a conversation earlier. Jay just said, I don't know what it is with you, but your geckos are just long. Even your non-giants are long.
Yeah.
Tails.
Tails are quite long. It's something about the super giants, and like I said earlier, there's a few things I've picked up in the years of breeding that I could be wrong. Like, it's my opinion. It's something about giants. I've never come across a dull giant. I'm starting to think maybe is there a bit of a colour enhancer, like your high contrast, your pastels, but I've never ever came across a dull giant, and that's what I love to work with them as well, because you never get a boring giant, as you know, Gino.
Yeah, it's actually one of the things that created Luna Geckos, because what happened is my daughter got into geckos and I got hooked, and I wanted to do projects that she wasn't interested. She didn't want to do them, and one of the projects was I wanted big geckos. So I bought I think he was 158, maybe 160 gram breeder male, and I bought a couple females, and I started producing giants, that super giants, that first year. And I mean, holding a gecko that's, the size of your forearm is cool. And then you take them to a show and people are like, what is that? I love them. I still love them. I just don't work with them because of space. It's, it was productivity for me, but I love them. I think they're amazing. Hey, Adam had a question about Ron Tremper in his latest book. I think it's right here. It's a little dusty. In Ron's book, he claims that Supergiant's recessive is. How you feeling about that?
In my opinion, I spoke to a few Americans recently, Kevin at Mutant Geckos. We had a bit of a discussion about Supergiant.
Yeah, I know Kevin. Good dude.
I know a lot of Americans that I've seen a Het Supergiant labeled a few times, and I totally sort of understand. I personally feel like it's a line bred trait. I've had normal hatchlings from the Supergiant pairing. And I've had, for example, and I understand what Kevin's saying. Kevin's saying is he's paired two supergiants.
See that, Jay?
Had a normal gecko, paired it back to a supergiant, and had supergiant babies, which make people think, hang on, there's possibly a Het. I personally think it's a line bred trait. Same with humans. If your parents, it sounds bad, but
right? You're right.
Mum and dad are big. You're possibly going to come out big. Same with if you're tall, if your mum and dad are tall, there's a high chance of you being tall. But obviously, there's a small percentage of you could come out short. But that's just my opinion.
I don't disagree with that. I mean, if Shaquille O'Neal has a baby with a 5'2" female, they're probably not going to be 7-footers, but they're probably not going to be 5'2" either, right?
Yeah.
And there's a chance, with genetics in the mix, there's a chance either way. But I would tend to agree with that position, but I don't work with them. I only worked with them for 2 seasons. I love them, but I'm not deep enough in the project to be able to make a definitive statement either way. So I'll defer to you. But I will say, my opinion, I agree with you, but
I mean, if everything I paired to a supergiant came out big, that would make me think otherwise.
Somebody just commented, if Shaq has a baby with a 5-foot female, she's dead. I gotta tell you, I met Shaq. A lot of people know, I used to be in the casino business. I spent 20 plus years as an executive in the casino business, and we opened a restaurant called Moderano's, really cool Italian restaurant at the Rio many years ago. And for the grand opening, we had guys, celebs came for the grand opening. One of them was Shaq, and I was greeting everybody as they came in. He walks in the front door, and listen, I meet so many celebrities.
Shaq's wife is 5'7", by the way.
His wife's 5'7". I meet a lot of celebrities in the casino business, so I'm not starstruck. But he walked in front of me, and it was the biggest man I have ever seen in my life. And he had this mustard yellow sport coat on. He looked like a Century 21 agent back in the day when they used to wear those yellow jackets. And so I shake his hand, and he just engulfs like my arm, right? And he's talking, and I'm not listening to a thing he says because I'm looking at this yellow jacket, and I'm thinking, that's the biggest goddamn jacket I've ever seen in my life. And after, I don't know, 5 minutes or whatever, he says, all right, brother, I'll see you inside. And he gives me a fist bump. And he walks away, and I realize I didn't say anything for 5 minutes. And he's probably thinking, man, you don't have to be that smart to run a casino. This guy doesn't even talk. And I was just thinking, that's the biggest jacket I've ever seen in my life. So that's my Shaq story. But gotta love, you gotta create a Shaquille line of super giants.
Shaquille line.
Oh, that'd be insane.
That's a good
I
one.
mean, he's a big human.
Shaquille line. That's good.
What are you working with in the super giants? Like, what are you breeding them into? You trying to make all? I'm sure you have secret projects. You don't have to talk about those. But you're trying to create.
My absolute goal would be to create the 200G animal. I mean, that's always been my goal, is to try and get them as big as possible. But I've also been crossing them a lot. And as Jay knows, and a few other people in the UK know, is for some reason, my super giants have been throwing out a lot of smiley heads. And that's something I really, really want to work with.
We keep losing.
Guess has muted themselves.
It says you muted.
Jay.
Go back to single screen till he comes back. I think I heard someone knocking on the door. Hope it wasn't the police. Not our door, on Jay's door.
Or he also got a new iPhone, so he might have
He
not
did.
realized.
He did get a brand new iPhone.
Clicks
So he clicked something and he's out. He got a new iPhone yesterday just for this live stream. There he is. You have to assign him back to
we're
one.
having some
good.
difficulty with our connection, but I think it's sorted now.
You got it all worked out. We heard someone knocking on the door. We thought
Postman.
we thought it was Boris coming to get you.
I think it was Ferry.
It was Ferry. Ferry's like,
where?
who is this Jay? I want my Black Knights back. You want to talk about Black Knights?
Oh, we can do if you want.
Anybody out there want to talk about Black Knights?
Well, I've had
I mean,
couple stories, eh?
These babies I'm looking at right now. I mean, I wouldn't say I've been in the game for ages. I've been doing it since 2016. And I've never seen hatchlings like this. I mean, Jay said to me, we've been friends before leopard gecko breed, and he said, George, come round and have a look at. You need to give me a hand. Have a look at these, and they've just blown my brain.
Hey, Kevin is on from Mutant. He just asked what size your crosses. What are you seeing on those super giant outcrosses? You seeing bigger geckos?
With the crosses, I've managed to get them to about 110.
Nice gecko.
I mean, that's probably the biggest I've got. And with females, talking about 90, 95. But with super giants, is everyone thinks weight. It's not the case. I mean, anybody can get a normal gecko, bulk feed it, give it loads of waxworms, loads of superworms. Anyone can make a 110 gram gecko. I mean,
it's just a short, fat gecko.
Yeah, it really is
kind of like Charles Barkley. That's the Charles Barkley line of super giants versus the Shaquille line of super giants.
It's the structure of them as well. They're just. I mean, what I always say to people in the UK is if you hit it with your car will break down.
I had an English bulldog once that ran out into traffic, and he right on the side, he got hit with a bumper of a Cadillac, and he yelped, turned around, ran back, and the lady stopped, thought she killed the dog, and his eyes swelled up like Rocky Balboa, but he was fine. And we went out and looked at the car, and there was a dent in the bumper. So I have like one of the only dogs that ever get hit by a car, and he damaged the car. He sadly passed away, but he made it 12 years for an English bulldog. That's a long time.
Yeah, it's good.
Great dog. So George, everybody is so jealous because we see all these Photoshop pictures that Jay puts out on the internet, and you actually get to see them in person. They gotta look even better in person, huh?
Honestly, like we said, when you get your normal gecko, you're talking like the palm of your hand. When you start getting geckos that are surpassing your palm of your hand, sort of going sort of like, sorry, the camera, sort of like onto your forearm. But what I did speak to a few super giants, because there's not too many super giant breeders in the UK. I think would you say one of two, one of three?
One or two, three.
I mean,
yeah,
there's a few
giants.
people with a few of them, but I have seem to have noticed, and I have spoke to a few breeders about it, and it's just my opinion. I don't know whether in their gene or whatever their DNA, they don't seem to be very healthy. In my opinion, they're quite lethargic. Jay's got one. He says the exact same thing. I don't know whether it's for Black Knight, for example. I don't know whether it's a lion bred or. All I'm thinking is big gecko, small organs.
Yes.
I mean, my main super giant male one day just passed away, and a lot of people can tell it really hit home with me because of that was pretty much the gecko that I wouldn't say it made me go above and beyond, but that's the gecko that made me see a path, gave me a project almost. And I mean, a lot of us that start breeding, you get your pet shop geckos, you pair them together, you get some hatchlings, you think, wow, that's amazing. But the super giants really gave me a mindset and made me think, right, that is what I want to work with. And it's nothing worse than your one male that started it all for you. He passed away, and that really hit home with me. And I really do think it's big geckos, small organs. I mean, we looked at two of Jay's super giants today, and they got rolls on their belly. And I mean, super giants go through a phase. I don't know whether you noticed this, Gino. They go through a phase where they don't stop eating, and then they stop eating and manage to still gain weight.
Yes, that's a struggle I have.
And it's insane.
Yeah, they just grow.
I don't know whether it's because of us in the UK, because we're such a small island. We're sort of interacting with each other's lines. Whereas in America, you have a big, and I don't know whether it's because we're so small and all breeding with each other. I don't know whether that's affecting it. Because I know I spoke to Stefan in Germany. He said, George, I haven't noticed any problems with them at all. Whereas obviously I've seen like my female, she seems to have had a good season, bad season, good season, bad season. That's just what I've noticed, and I am planning on bringing some new lines in at some point, hopefully for America, Germany, and whatnot.
Yeah, I only had a 1-2 group, but if you think about it, like humans, I mean, abnormally large humans don't have the same life expectancy because our body isn't built for that, and perhaps it's the same. I've heard that before, but I only had a 1-2 group. I had a tremper female, and I had a sunglow female, and the sunglow laid nothing but duds. I only bred her one season, and the tremper was a good breeder, but she was mean. And if she didn't want to breed and she went after that male, I think she probably weighed 115, 120 grams, and the male was pushing 160. And she would light him up. And talk about not wanting to get your hand in there to separate them. That was, you're like, oh, here we go. I had a spray bottle, and then I'm getting my hand in there. I'm like, holy shit. These guys,
I've been there.
I'm going to lose a finger. A normal gecko, you're like, oh, get out of there. Leave him alone. But 150 grams firing away, you don't want to get in there.
until you actually look at a giant, it's like I saw Kevin's post on his Instagram page, and he gets his super giant out a lot with the kids and everything. Until you've actually got that gecko in your hands, you don't realise how big they are. I mean, it's easy for someone to stand in the picture and do this, but until you've actually got that animal, you see the structure of the head, the whole body. It's almost like they haven't got a neck. It's just straight structure.
Yes, I found that.
And yeah, I get a lot of people ask like, "Oh, I really would like a super giant, but will your super? I have heard your super giants can't pair with a normal gecko." And I think that's nonsense. I think I've paired super giants to normal geckos, and absolutely fine. You might have a little bit of a problem because of he is a lot bigger than her, and might have to spend a bit more time. But I've never ever had a problem. And I've never had a fertility problem with them. The only thing I could say is I think they've got a shorter lifespan. I know a lot of super giant breeds are going to be watching this thinking, "Oh, don't say that sort of thing." Same with like Fairy of anything with Black Knights. I don't want you to say anything negative about my project sort of thing. But in my opinion, they do have a shorter life, and I'm only thinking it's because of they're unhealthy due to how they've been bred, and they've been bred to be a big gecko. And like you said, like. You get some people with the conditions where they can't stop growing and they have health problems. It's just my opinion. From what I've seen, they grow at a credible rate, an insane rate.
Yep.
Well, I mean, you look at dog breeds. I mean, I talked about an English bulldog. They're 8 to 10 years, where, you can get a golden retriever does 15 or whatever. But so, yeah, it's plausible for sure. I think a lot of those, you can make anything, right? It's that fishing, handy dandies into fishing, but you make your fish look bigger by holding them out on the picture, right? So you always see these people with their little bluegill. They're like, "Look at this, it's a record." But
anything closer to the camera is going to be closer.
Yeah, but you're right.
Bigger.
You can't
or
appreciate
to the edge of the camera. That's also why Jay probably looks so big.
No, that's because Jay goes to the gym like freaking twice a day, 6 days a week is why he looks so big. But you can't appreciate a super giant until you see one and hold one, and then you're like, "Oh my God, I've never experienced this." So kind of like these fake Black Knights that Jay creates over there. And I know everybody thinks he photoshops them and puts that little black ink drop on before he uploads. You've seen them in person, George. You've actually seen these geckos.
If I'm honest with you, I've been with Jay through the whole of this Black Knight experience, and I said to him at the start, you don't know what you're getting into, Jay. Don't bother. And to be fair to Jay, I've seen a lot of Black Knight breeders. They buy the Black Knights, and obviously they didn't get what they expected and give up. There's one thing I can say to Jay is he's persevered. He said to me from day one, "I want to breed black geckos, white geckos, silver geckos. That's what I love." Same with the antics. I don't care whether they don't produce anything. It's what I want to work with. I'm planning on making that line better.
Yes.
And from what I can see, I mean, these geckos are dark. I mean, they look like shadows.
It's amazing. He sends me all the pictures, even most he doesn't post. And we have a no disrespect to Fairy, but that's why we were joking about that was Fairy pounding on the door. Is after he sent me the last couple, I responded, "Fairy who?"
Yeah,
so
we were talking
it's kind of an ongoing joke now. So no, Fairy, we love you, man. We wouldn't be even talking about this stuff if it wasn't for you. So it's just a joke.
Exactly.
The dedication he put into the hobby to create what he has created is absolutely insane. I mean, I can't see myself working on one project for 20 plus years, and what he has done, bearing in mind the issues it has. I mean, the guy has made a fantastic gecko, and the future with them is above and beyond.
Yeah, full credit to Fairy, 100%.
Well, I want to talk. I think we touched on that a little bit before. People talk about the issue or issues. They talk about fertility or maybe a kink tail Small snout, small head. That
Yeah.
doesn't happen all the time. And
No.
frankly, name me a prolific line bred project that doesn't have the exact same issues. I just think, right? I think if I bought $100 gecko and it only lays duds, you're upset about it, but you're like, it was $100. If I spent $2,000 on a black knight and it lays water balloons, it stings. I'm upset about it. So because if I buy a Ferrari and it breaks down, I'm pissed. If I buy a used, Honda Accord and it breaks down, I'm like, well, I kind of expected it. So I think a lot of these issues get exaggerated, or maybe not exaggerated, but highlighted and get a lot more press because the geckos are so expensive.
Yeah.
And some of it, I believe, are breeders that either chose not to get into the project or couldn't afford to get into the project. And now they have to justify, because the number one question I get, you have any black knights? You have any black knights? You have any black knights? And then, what morph is this? You have any black knights? And they're getting the same questions. So they got to be able to answer that and just say, no, I don't have black knights. They have to answer it and justify why they don't have black knights. So talk about it. Talk about black knights, the history, what you know, when you got in, what you've been working on.
Years. So years with the pures. I will say, as I always do, the pures, I have about, I think, 7 pures breeding, and I miss on the eggs about nearly 14 eggs a week on the pure black knights. So, and I'm talking, I will catch them within maybe a couple of hours of being on the heat map, because none of the black knights will lay in their boxes. I've experimented. I've tried different boxes, the lot.
I'm not having. Mine are laying in dirt.
Not a single one. I've tried changing where the box is, everything I've tried, and they're not laying in there. I will miss about 14 black knight eggs every 2 weeks from the pures.
That's painful.
There's always next season, I say.
Actually, let me tell a quick story. Maybe a couple days last week, I think, we did a video on $10,000 worth of breeding mistakes, and Jay commented, I lose that a week in black knight eggs I throw away. So that was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's the thing is, I don't really mind, because there's always next season, and what the crosses have produced for me have been better. I've outcrossed the I say Gem 1 Black Knight Max Snow, which is barely expressing any darkness, and the babies I've got from her, they make my pures look a little bit shameful.
Yeah.
The Max Snows are crazy.
The Max Snow Black Knights I have, but of course there's the issue with the male that was bred to them all. So the first
That's the male that you trace the new snow back to, or the potential new snow.
Potential is so obviously I was so excited. I said there's a potential, but it is so early. There's so much testing, and so it's very early to say. But by the looks of things and what I've kind of have on the table at the moment, I can say that it's looking quite promising. I could say that.
What you crossed it to and everything, it's looking good at the moment for Jay. Especially, he crossed it to a Afghan I sold him last season, and the Afghan has absolutely no snow in it at all. Absolutely no snow at all. And
is this it?
So this one is So this one is from the male in question. That one. So it's so dark.
That's not it?
I don't believe it is.
I was going to another one. Oh.
That's also from the. They're also from the two pures. You're looking at a very
Hold on.
black.
One of these up
That
here?
one there. That's her. That's her.
That's it.
That's a snow that popped from two pure black knights. Now you'd think, all right, how is that snow? When that hatched, that was 100% a snow. It was a snow. Not only that, it's showing two full black eyes.
In person, it looks like an African factile to me. I mean, it's like, I don't know whether you've seen the new crested gecko morph. That's jet black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a crested gecko. I mean, it does, but you look at it and you think, is that a cresty? It has no structure at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it's same with these geckos. I mean, I have never seen a black gecko with full black eyes. I mean, normally they have that silver normal, because essentially a black knight is just a normal gecko that's been line bred for so many years. So if we take the black knight out of it and just look at it as a normal, he's got two normals that have been producing these snows and all black eyes. And I think it's insane. Even Ferry's saying, I have no idea where that has come from. This line we've had no snow put into this. And I mean, Jay has got a lot of test breeding to do and a lot of work to do, but if it does prove out to be a new snow, that would be amazing for all of us.
I agree. Yeah. Well, and Jay, you spent a lot of time with Ferry on this, and Ferry he's adamant there's no snow. He actually said he's never even owned a max snow. So there's never been a max snow in his building.
No, he said, I messaged, because obviously when the day I came down and found the incubator, so I have a pure tub for my pure black knights, and the day I found a snow, I straight to Ferry, I went, I've hatched a snow from your pure line black knights. The thing is, it's the evidence from the year before hatching so this is, the story goes, is I hatched two snows from a pure Afghan to this male. And the first thing you'd think is, your female is snow.
He blamed me for it. He went, George, that Afghan's got snow. And I said, oh, Jay, I am telling you that does not have snow.
So I instantly put it down to that. Bear in mind, these geckos didn't survive due to my incubator. So they peeked the egg, and obviously they would have drowned. So I opened the egg up, and there was two snows. If they survived, I would have been a year ahead now. So that was the first issue, and I went, it's the Afghan. And then I popped a snow from a blizzard eclipse. Bear in mind, I can fully say that there could be snow in that blizzard eclipse. There's not, that's a possibility. So I put it down to that female being a snow. However, when two pure line black knights pop a snow, I can't put it down to anything. It's got to be that male. There's 3 females now. 2 of them that were 100% non-snow, and the snow's popped. The weird thing is that on the snow from the pures, it's showing 2 pure black eyes. However, paired to an eclipse or with the blizzard eclipse, the eyes aren't black, so it's not eclipse either.
That's important. So
exactly.
The question,
I originally thought false eclipse, but it's only until it's happened a few times before. I was like, hang on, this can't be false eclipse. Like, if it was a one-off thing, I'd be like, okay, you got false eclipse in your hands or whatnot. But now it's popping up a few times. It's like, to be fair, some of them are actually looking at carbon, and honestly, on camera you can't see it. Until someone's here looking at it. It's like, what are these?
Yeah. Well, I think last season you popped that. Was it a female that had one of her eyes was different?
Yeah, so obviously I popped a couple pure black knights, but where some of them hatch so dark, I can't tell if any of them had the snow mutation or not. So I actually held them back anywho. I paired the female with so one of them had a funny eye. It was only one of the eyes, which made it weird. But I didn't think of it as a big thing. I thought, new eye traits always pop up. It's not a massive thing. However, the eye seemed to have followed onto another gecko this season.
There were a couple comments.
Go on.
I think Ella had a comment, and go back to Ella's, and then we'll go to this one. So Ella says, how do you know it's a new snow, not a Mac Gem or a Tug? we don't. And
We don't.
but what Jay does know is the pure Black Knight line does not have any of those in it. So Fairy's been working that line for 15 plus years.
Yep.
And there's no snow in that line anywhere.
Furthermore, say that I've paired him to a max snow eclipse. Out of 7, 8, 9 babies, there's no supers coming from this pairing. What I've done also last night was pair him to a super snow eclipse to double make sure. The fact is, what's coming from that pairing is also snow-looking geckos, which I can't tell because they're that black, and they're showing black eyes again.
What's weird about that
I popped the normal max snow from the same pairing showing normal eyes, and I popped a snow-looking gecko, which I can't say snow because it's so black, but showing 2 black eyes.
It's almost acting like a tug snow, but the only thing that's baffling us is that it's a complete fresh line. I mean, Jay has crossed the Black Knight male to a few other things that have produced snows or made you think, oh, it could be the Afghan, the Blizzard, or whatnot. But because he has paired that to a pure Black Knight and had the same results, is a little bit. It's acting almost like a tug snow because he has paired it straight to an MSE Black Knight and haven't had no super forms, which makes me think, oh, it must be almost like a tug snow,
But a tug bred to a max snow will produce a super and a gem. So
it can, but
the fact that you're not producing supers makes you want to think it's definitely not Mac, because a Mac to a super Mac, you're going to get Max. I mean, you're going to get super Max, right? A tug to a super max snow can produce supers, and a gem to a super max snow can produce supers. So you're breeding it to a super max snow, and you've not popped a super. So it makes you think that it's quite possibly on a different allele, and it's a whole new snow. Because there's a debate that gem and tug might actually be the same as well. So until someone goes and pays and does the genetic map and fully displays it, we'll never know. But
well, that's where I'm at. The only thing I can say that is different from the others is that the Black Knight in question isn't eclipsed, but the babies are coming out with full black eyes. It's not just 1 or 2. It's 3 now, 3 babies with black eyes, and I can't explain it yet until I do more testing.
It is,
and black itself coming off these geckos is better than my pures, and you've all seen my pures.
Well, even the black off of these it doesn't even exist. It's just it disappears. There's not a word for it. We need a new word. I think we called your blackest Black Knights were voids, right?
Yeah, the voids.
This is like, void squared or something. It's the V2. But Bob said, is it possible the black eyes are separate from the snow? And it is possible.
It's all new.
We don't. It's season 1. So Jay doesn't know. There's work to do. It takes years of test breeding to narrow this down.
It's the fact it's from a pure black line that's what's baffling us. If it was, for example, from, I don't know, if you had some Zorro Bandit pairing, you'd be like, someone could have put a snow in there at some point. But it's the thought that it's been from a pure Black Knight that he's been breeding for the last 20 years, that's what is mind-boggling.
I'm going to try and attempt to pick this gecko up. However, he's very shy and loves a screech and run. This is the possible gecko. It's the gecko that hatched out as a snow, as hatchling. However, you will not ever be able to tell from now this gecko is a snow.
Does he have a white toe?
He has 1 white toe, 2 white toes.
That's spectacular.
2 black eyes.
Try and get the eyes in the camera if you can.
Won't focus on that.
Yeah, there's
nothing.
I got a little hint of the eye, but I can't imagine
Yeah,
we're going to be able to see that.
With this, it showed banding, white banding, as hatchling everywhere, all along the tail, all along the back, all along the neck. It was 100% a snow, and with the evidence on the other two females that shouldn't have been snow, and one of them 100% isn't, me, Ferry, and a few much bigger breeders are kind of agreeing that this is possibly a snow. Now, tested back to max snow, no supers out of seven hatchlings. He's been paired to another super eclipse just to double check.
Yeah, and you're not popping eclipse, and so far no super snows.
So I'm not popping eclipse yet with a blizzard eclipse X this male. Okay, so he's not het. However, I'm popping eclipse eyes with max snow eclipse paired to him. And also with two pures, when this snow popped, showing eclipse eyes. Pure black eyes.
It's a tangled mess. We got to figure it out.
Really, it's a lot of testing to do. It's very early.
Is that incubated male or female?
These are incubated as a possible mix. All of them are.
Okay, so you're just right down the middle.
Yeah, pretty much so. It doesn't matter. You know, I'll have to wait until they get to about 20 grams to be able to tell what this is. But
yeah, if you get males, you'll be able to go faster.
Yeah. So that's hopefully this is a male because it will speed things right up. However, my pure lion black knight male who's expressing this snow is basically expressing this snow. So he could be my main breeder for this snow.
Yeah, that's right, because that's where you were able to pin it back to him after you ruled out George's Afghans.
Exactly.
And Ferry's Black Knights. Hey, Kevin wants to know what do you guys think about the carbon line?
So me and a friend of mine from London Leopard Geckos were going to get the carbon snow and do some testing. However, due to recent occurrence with my main male, there's no point getting more snows in from that line. However, the carbon line looks amazing. I'll show you a gecko now that almost looks like the carbon line max snow.
What Kevin's doing over there is insane. I mean, I've seen a few of his malnestic stuff. It's just, I mean, we're such a small country. It's Jay. Jay's the only guy with the main black knights. We do have another breeder called DC Geckos. He does a lot of black knights, but because we're such a small island, it's not many people working with him apart from Jay. He's the one who's really been working with him and focusing on the black knights.
So here's one that I personally, when I see a carbon snow, I look to something like this. It's not carbon, however. It's a max snow black knight.
It has that carbon look to it.
Yeah.
Carbon,
silvery with the
dark,
dotting.
This is from the same male. I was just reading that. So this is from the same male, however, to max snow. I believe this is 100% max snow. It's not showing any black eyes or anything.
That's
very
crazy.
nice gecko. Very nice.
Yeah. Ella asks if it's polygenic. I assume you're talking about Black Knight, not the snow and the potential eye, whether that's linked to the Black Knight snow or it's a separate gene. She wants to know if there's a way to reverse the darkness. Absolutely. I think.
I
think it's polygenic. So that's another comment you hear a lot is once you get a black gecko, what are you going to do with it? Well, once you get an orange gecko, what are you going to do with it? You're going to mix it into stuff and you're going to use it as a color ingredient to create something that you're passionate about. So if you want an orange gecko with black bands, then you probably need to work with a tangerine and a black knight and line breed it until you get the look you want. So, I mean, once you get an all black gecko, what am I going to do with it? Well, maybe you love all black geckos, or maybe it's a color on your artist palette and you want to put a little black into that yellow gecko or into that orange gecko. So that's the silliest comment. Once you get a black gecko, what are you going to do with it? I'm going to use it as a color in my projects. So
I mean, I purchased a Black Knight around about Christmas time, and I bought it not for the darkness at all. For some reason, when you pair a Black Knight to, for example, a tangerine, you get these like black blushings, like almost like burnt orange look, and you get sometimes you get these like spottings, almost like a het blizzard, and that's exactly what I bought it for. And I've got a green line cross mandarin tangerine, which I showed Jay earlier. A few people have actually said to me, that looks like it's got Black Knight in it. And I said, it absolutely doesn't. And it's going to be a perfect mix to add into the Black Knights. And like, again, you can get two light Black Knights. And it's annoying for someone like Jay, like someone's gone out somewhere and bought a pair of Black Knight crosses for £800 and you can get black babies. But those babies are probably not going to start black.
No, they're not. Well, I think, so Ella was commenting a little bit more about if you break out the blackness to help you understand that's going to take too long, and the risk is you're going to have to keep introducing new lines into the project, and every time you break the isolation, there's a risk that what you just brought in has genetics in it, and
so you got
to be careful.
Yeah, so that's why when the two pures popped the snow, this is where it really got real. But she is 100%. I agree with her. Pair it to something that isn't as dark, which we have done in the past. Yeah. But because of this year, we've just found out that this male is in fact producing snows. The snows to Mac aren't producing supers. The eye traits are off. It's now from here we're going to go, all right, we're going to need a normal pure, but obviously there is a chance that pure will have something else in it. It's a long game. It is a long one.
Because it's such a fresh line as well. If it was like somebody else's line, you could say, oh, maybe something else in it. Because it is such a Black Knight hasn't been around forever. I mean, I know, even though I know Ferry's been working it for so many years, but when someone says a Black Knight to people nowadays, you're expecting that jet black gecko. And because it's so new, the possibilities are endless. Who knows what's going on with it? And that's how mutations arrive, is with inbreeding.
Right.
And because there's so much inbreeding in them, and now people are starting to cross them, people are starting to, will start to pop out stuff like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So, and that's what Jay is doing. And I mean, the proof's in the pudding. I was sceptical at first. The first thing I said to Jay was, I think this is false eclipse. But and a camera will never pick it up like a green gecko. If you've got any GNTs, green lines, emeralds, it never picks it up. So when you actually see these geckos, and I'm one of those people that, if Jay says to me, I think I've got a new morph, I would just go, oh, okay, Jay, okay. I'll wait until I see it.
Yeah.
But now I'm here and I'm looking at them. The first thing I said to Jay is, I wish I could help you here, but I can't help you.
I'm lost too,
Yeah.
Lost.
And I mean, we've noticed a few things with the eyes. The eyes are a little bit sensitive.
Yeah.
But I mean, they are jet black.
You got work to do.
The blackness on these, like some of these, like I said, on these geckos, they're so rich. Like my pures can come out, especially when hatching. My pures come out with some pattern. After a week, they start developing the darkness. But these geckos, bear in mind, it's from an outcrossed light female. These geckos are some of the blackest, best geckos I've ever produced. The black on the two pures that come out snow is so rich. In person, it's just, I can't describe it. I've not hatched a gecko like that.
Yeah, some of the Max Snow Black Knight crosses are among the darkest geckos.
I've hatched. Yeah, I've got a few here. But what I will say with the Max Snow Black Knights is they hatch so dark, and then
look at my super snows.
Yeah, they hatch very dark, and then within, they can very much lighten up. I hatched a pure black. It was crossed between a Max Snow Eclipse and a Black Knight, and it hatched out pure black. Now it's very light.
They fluctuate as well in temperature, like your Murphy patternlesses, and even some of your tangerine lines, depending on the heat, whether you cool them down. I mean, they can change. I mean, I've had people over and be like, "This is a Super Snow Black Knight cross," and they're like, "No, it isn't." if I put this gecko in a tub away from a heat mat, you will be telling me this is a black knight.
Yeah. Well, I worked that project too. So I maintain a pure line. I only have a 1-2 of pures going this year, and then I'm working and the reason for pure, A, I love them, and B, if you wanted to do, like we talked about a little bit ago, if you wanted that color on your artist palette to put into your project, well, you don't want a Mac Snow Black Knight or a Black Knight Eclipse. You want a Black Knight that's het free, so you can now put it into your project. So I'm going to maintain pure line, and but then I also have some cross projects. I got the Gem Snow project going. I got a Mandarin Tangerine project. I got a Super Snow Black Knight Eclipse. So this is the first season where I have visual eclipse in both of the breeders. And you're right. You'll look at a Super Snow Black Knight, and what I find, and I think I'm Gen 2 or Gen 3, is they still look like a Super Snow, but that field color is more gray instead of white, at least on the ones I'm popping out. I haven't popped any of those panda looking ones where they're black with the white stripe. And
we've seen a few of those. There's we've seen a few geckos over here in the UK. People working with the Black Knights. They hatch black with that white stripe, but
it doesn't last.
They go. It doesn't last at all.
I've hatched black Super Snows, but within a month they start patterning up. So it's kind of interesting because, like the pure Black Knight, like you were saying, almost all of them start with varying degrees of pattern, and that pattern tends to move into the background. It fades, it disappears. Now they're not all going to be black. There's, sometimes there's a faint pattern, sometimes there's a pretty apparent pattern, but the outcrosses are the opposite. They're hatching black, and then they're pattern up.
Exactly what happens to the outcrosses. I hope.
Hey, put that back up, George. This is one of your secret projects. They want to know. Tyler wants to know if you're consider creating a giant Black Knight. There are people working on the project, but you want to talk about it? I haven't seen one yet.
The only thing, Jay could probably fill in a bit more of this, because I haven't had much to do with the Black Knight. I mean, I purchased the Black Knight Christmas, and a good friend of mine had gave me 2 Super Snow Black Knight crosses as well to work with. The only thing I could say is, when someone says to me giant, I say big gecko, 110 grams, 120 up to 200 G, let's say. I just can't see a giant leopard gecko paired to a Black Knight, because Black Knights stay relatively small. The tails are small, everything's small about them. So if I got one of my super giants and paired it to one of Jay's Black Knights, I think they might reach a maximum of 70 G, 80 G. But would you class that as a giant Black Knight, even though that's bigger than most Black Knights?
Right.
Would you class that? To me, I wouldn't. It isn't a giant, but I just think it would make a bigger Black Knight than what they are now. But with the issues I've seen from giants, would this make the Black Knight? Do you know what I mean? Would it mess up the morph more?
Yeah, I think it would take a long time to get a 100, 120 gram Black Knight.
I can tell you now, it's been done. The giant Black Knights are relatively.
Steve Sykes is involved with someone from Japan, I think.
Yes, so Aaron. I don't know how much I can say about this, but I know that
it's in the works.
It's in the works, and the first 2 that get imported to Europe will be coming to me. I know that.
There you go.
I discussed it with him a little bit, and he said that the fertility is absolutely on point with these ones.
Is that because of the crossing?
Yeah, he said there's no issues whatsoever, and they're holding a darkness and a good size. Now, Aaron is one of the best breeders I know personally. His projects are amazing. I've got a big import coming from him, I think around September. I don't know whether these possible giants, Black Knights, will be on this order or the next one, but I will keep people updated on that.
The Black Knight morph it isn't finished. I mean, even though we produced the darkest geckos have been produced, the project isn't finished.
No, by no means.
It's got to be strengthened. There needs a lot more structure into it. Now we've got the black geckos, we now need to get rid of that rubbish, inbred, infertility out. It's going to involve in a lot of crossing.
Yeah, no, and I think as a color, in putting that melanin into any project, I mean, whether it's tangerines or the Mandarin tangerine line or whatever, you pick. I think people are just starting. Because if you think about it, sure, Fairy's been working on it for 15, 20 years. I think it was 15 years before he even released them. And so they've really only been out in the general public now for, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
I think I'm year 4 that I've had them. So, and
3 maybe.
My original group, well, the first year they were little, so I didn't breed them. But this is my 3rd season. Yeah, it's my 3rd season because my original female, I brought in a 1-2 group, and my original female that's here, she first season, she came in middle of a season, so was a baby, didn't breed, and then bred the following season, so that would have been 19, and she produced 1 egg. So I went through all that trouble to get a 1-2 group from the Netherlands, and I was so excited. I got 1 egg. And my daughter took the other female, and she got like 12 eggs. So I paid for everything, and I got screwed. So I didn't win on that deal. But then I sum it up. It was a first-year breeder because last year she pumped them out like nobody's business. So it's not an inherent issue with that gecko. It's that gecko was a first-year breeder. Produced 1 egg and then a handful of water balloons and then called it a day. And then last year, I think I'd have to go back on my look of records, but I got somewhere between 8-10 eggs all hatched from her. Yeah, so she did fine. And I have one of her eggs from last year is a female that I held back. I actually held 2 of her females back and a male. And the female has produced first-year breeder this year, 2021, she has dropped 7 clutches, and 6 of the 7 were good. The 7th one might have been good, but she laid like 2 days earlier than she was supposed to, and I wasn't checking. I usually start checking like a day before, and I went and checked the lay box, and there were 2 raisins in there. I was like, oh. Kind of what you feel when you're throwing eggs away. So I incubated them anyway, just hoping I could plump them back up. They went in the trash. They didn't make it. So I think she's done, but I got 6 good clutches, all double egg. And the 7th clutch ended up in the trash, but that might be my fault, not her fault. So it's hit or miss, right? Like with a tremper. I got a tremper that hasn't laid anything. And I'm not mad about it because it happens. And
it's an animal. You can't force an animal to lay eggs. That's what some people forget. We know a few people that have bought black knights and I'm going to get a male, a female paired, and I'm going to have 10 baby black knights this season. I'm going to earn my money back, keep it through proven breed. Look at Jay. Jay knows exactly. You can't judge an animal. I mean, not necessarily black knights. Even my super giants. My super giant, this female, has decided I don't want to lay fertile eggs this season. Even though I've paired, I'm going to lay you all balloons this season. Yep. And it's just that's how you've got to be for this hobby. You got to love it to beat because it will just come and just make you upset like that.
Oh yes.
I like the water balloons. It's isopod food. I don't throw them away anymore. I throw them in with the isopods and the springtails and let them eat it. We recycle. We recycle here. What else you got? What do you want to show?
I've got a few of the Max Snow Eclipse X Black Knight in question. But as you'll see on camera, they're just full black geckos. You know,
It's
like
hard to
it's
morph
hard.
them.
Yeah.
When you got like you're trying to morph a Max Snow, first thing that comes to mind is Max Snow's black and white. But when you got a gecko that's jet black.
So this is another gecko, and this one. Sorry, George. This one. Come on, fella.
I hear a scream.
Yeah, screechy. They're all screechy and very, very angry. So this one hatched with the bands. However, the bands they've been grey or a brownish colour since. I can't identify this as a snow or pure het eclipse. There's no way of telling, because since hatch date those bands have been brown. There's no white, but yet the whiteness on the tip there indicates it could possibly be, but I personally think
Ferocious.
this is a pure het eclipse.
Are the feet or the toes are white?
They are. A lot of mine are hatching out with white toes. It's
What about that
hard.
tail?
It really is
I see a
hard.
couple bands on the end of the tail. Are they white?
Yeah, they are white. There's on the very end there's white, but from the other, so there's two at the end that are white, and the rest are all darkened out. You can't tell.
Spectacular. It's gorgeous animal. Was that neck band white or it was
White,
brownish?
and there's a dot just on to touch him because he's rearing up at me. Just there, just there is white too, and there's a slight white line on the back of just above his tail.
I wonder if they think that actually hurts when they bite you.
Yeah,
Because it's more of a headbutt. Their mouth doesn't open enough. It's funny though, because it scares the heck out of me every time they do it.
oh, same here. Yeah,
It's, I'm 200. I don't know how to do kilograms, so I can't do it for you. But what am I, 230 pounds? And I got a 5-gram gecko that screams, lunges, and tries to bite me, and it scares me to death every time they do it.
sure. I'm gonna try and get a light on, just so we can see it a little bit better.
Oh, he's eyeballing you. He wants a piece.
He does not like me at the moment, not at all. So you can see there's it's expressing a little bit of white, but due to the bands on the back and tail being so dark, I can't say if this is Mac or not. I personally think it's not.
105 kilograms? Is that what M geckos? If I weigh 230 pounds, I weigh 105 kilograms? I like that better. It sounds more palatable to say I weigh 105 instead of 230.
The eyes are black.
The eyes are black, yeah. Even on this.
Does he have like a white upper lip?
Yeah, he does.
They do, yes.
Yeah, they do.
That's pretty cool.
I've hatched a lot of pures with the white lip thing. Even that gecko there, so that is a Max Snow Eclipse X Black Knight. This is the male in question, bear in mind, and that one is showing the same eyes as what the pures are.
Now,
The pure snow.
these go back to that male of yours,
they all
that
do.
the
Everything
darkest
here,
male in the world.
Yeah,
That's where you've narrowed it down, that this gene,
Yeah.
or whether it's the snow or the eye, or if those are together, it's coming from that gecko.
One male, it's all from him. 1,000,000% from him. However, it's so early to say for sure. There's so much testing that needs to be done. All I can say is that a snow's popped from 2 pures, and it's showing 2 pure black eyes. And now, even crossed out to Max Snow, no supers are popping, and even some that are looking snow, but I can't tell for sure. Some of them are showing black eyes. At first, you'd go, all right, so maybe that's the eclipse. Maybe your male is het eclipse. It doesn't explain why 2 pure black knights have thrown out a snow with eclipse eyes, and it doesn't explain why the blizzard eclipse isn't throwing out eclipse eyes with my male.
No, yeah, you've paired it to visual eclipse.
Yeah. Now I know
I mean-
blizzards can obviously they can express the false eye eclipse. However, the blizzard in question was a line-bred midnight from a quite reputable breeder that I know. So I trust that that's 100%
It's visual.
Yeah.
Especially when you've paired it to like your Afghans and your pure black knights, and they're popping out snows too. It's like, okay.
Yeah, you're right. You're definitely
It's
onto
not-
something. It's that's why no one's declaring a new gene.
No,
What's
it's
being
just more
declared
like-
is a very interesting anomaly, and
Yeah.
work needs to be done.
Exactly. I agree with that.
Every mutation or every trait is a genetic mutation. So, how do you think that Tug happened, or Gem, or Eclipse, or Mac, or whatever? I mean, it's a genetic mutation, right?
Yeah.
I would think the odds, I'm using math, the odds of a random genetic mutation reoccurring are less likely than a random genetic mutation that's new.
I tried saying that earlier, but you worded it a lot better than me.
So
Exactly.
for you to have popped out another Tug Snow is like lightning hitting twice in the same spot. It's more than likely, from a probability standpoint, assuming all this proves out, that it's a completely different snow. It's somewhere on the ladder in a different position than the others.
Yeah, when I popped the snow, I was obviously confused, and I put it down to potentially something there. But then when the eye trait followed on to another cross from the male, which also looks snow, I kind of then thought maybe we're onto something genetic here, and that's when I started saying to people, all right, we're onto something here. However, as you said, it's so early, so early.
The geckos are still really young as well. Once they develop, you never know, they might wash out a little bit of colour.
See what they look like.
White through. Yeah.
That's great. What's Zach say? Oh, can't wait to see where this goes. Me either. And Jay, your geckos are epic. Hey, and Zach's working with a few of my Black Knight crosses from 2 seasons ago. One almost solid black now, but keep up the good work. Got to skate. Thanks, Zach. Appreciate you tuning in.
Have a good one, Zach, mate.
Thank you, Zach.
Is another cross from the same pairings you've seen for the past 2 geckos. So Max Snow Eclipse times the male in question. Hold on, let me. I'm going to try and pick this one up, but he's also very aggressive. Come on, fella. Come on, fella. Now, this is the one that's showing normal eyes, and I believe this is a Black Knight Het Eclipse. I fully believe this is a Black Knight Het Eclipse, because when it was hatched, there wasn't any white banding on it or any sort of whiteness or whatever. However, it hatched this is a cross, bear in mind, and this hatched better than nearly any pure I've hatched.
It's gorgeous.
It's really nice. It's probably going to have to be a holdback too. It's showing one white toe. I'm just checking the eyes out now, and they are normal eyes. They are normal.
You know what's funny is I think on the last Luna Live we did, you said that all your Black Knights are going to be for sale this year, but then you popped out this new gene and you got to hold them all back. So it didn't go as planned.
We're going to call him Holdback Jay.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Obviously, with the snows at pop, I will have to hold every snow back, but I potentially could let go of like some of the crosses, like the Het Eclipses and the pures that don't pop the snow, because obviously if it is a snow gene, then it's not going to be it's not going to carry on to any other gecko that's not showing the snow traits.
That's right.
Yeah, so I think all my pures that don't hatch snow and all my crosses that don't hatch snow will be up for grabs still.
Very cool. Very, very cool.
Down the back. Go on, mate. Oh. And I've got one more to show from the same pairing. I just got to find it. There's a few boxes here.
Yeah, somebody asked a little bit ago to see giants, but
I can show you the super giant if you want.
Yeah, George doesn't have any there. There is Jay's.
Well, George's biggest super giant was gifted to me as a baby.
Oh, there you go.
So obviously he didn't know it'd be his biggest. So when it was gifted to me, it was literally the size of the Black Knights that you've just seen. Now this gecko in question, it tops the son of four being the world's largest leopard gecko.
Oh, no way.
This gecko is a Black Knight head eclipse, hatched out solid black.
Yep.
Look at it now. You see how they change so much. It has a slight kink at the bottom of the tail. I put that down to the incest in the genes. But full black. If I showed you a photo of this gecko about a month ago, you wouldn't think it's the same gecko at all.
Yeah, that's
still
amazing.
Gorgeous looking gecko.
So that gecko will probably go on, if you paired that to another Black Knight, that gecko will probably go on to produce dark geckos.
Well, this is what I found, especially with the Max Snow. They are throwing out some very, very dark geckos, but it's if the blackness stays. It's the question. They want to see your super giant.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Go grab him.
Yeah.
What's funny about a pure, like we were talking about earlier, if I sell a 15, 20 gram pure Black Knight, it's going to get darker. And I can almost, other than a female anyway, a temperature sex female. Now, if I sell you a temperature sex male, it's probably going to pattern up because it was incubated 89, 90 degrees Fahrenheit. But if I sell you an 80, 81 degree incubated female, it's going to get darker. And with some of these Max Snows and some of these outcrosses, it's almost like you don't want to buy it at 15 grams. You want to wait a little bit and see what's going to look like. So what's the name of this gecko?
We haven't actually got a name for him.
I'd call it Kevin.
Kevin.
But you can see, like what I was explaining earlier, you can see like the rolls.
Yeah.
It's just something you can't stop in these geckos. And as you can see, they're quite slow.
They are
very. They're like, when you open their cave, they're not really bothered. But it's definitely, I mean, I love them. There's nothing better than a big gecko. Look at this. Just look at him. Try to get him straight so I can give you guys engage it for you guys.
Yeah, it is funny. They usually don't freak out. They just you open their hide and they look at you like, "What do you want?"
Yeah, like, where's food? Yeah, I mean, I gave this gecko to Jay, and he must have been 6G, 7G.
The size of those little Black Knights in my hand, this gecko was.
I said to Jay, I bet you he will turn out big. And I mean, this camera's not doing him any justice.
No, not at all.
Is that a tremper?
That is a tremper, yeah. I don't know whether you guys in America are familiar with the copper gene. He was actually a son of Thor paired to a copper high contrast giant. And the copper is basically a lion-bred trait by DC geckos. It's just basically a tangerine tremper.
Yeah, I've seen pictures.
Yeah, I mean,
I've never seen one in person, but I've seen pictures.
I mean, pretty much a lot of us in the UK are working with the copper gene because of luck. Fortunately for us, we can get the coppers quite easy. Where I know the Germans absolutely love the copper gene. But let me go and get you the female. I'll show you the size difference.
What the copper gene? It creates more of a muted, like brownish, like a goldy brown. Is that what you're?
it's more of a tangerine with a like a tremper pattern. You know how like trempers you get a lot of like your head stamps, whereas tangerine is more just, but it just gives more of a head stamp, a bit more patterning across the back. This is a copper cross, and I can definitely see the pastel coming through from the dad. But let me grab you the female quickly. The female I absolutely love. She's had a dreadful season. But this guy, I mean, Jay's done amazing with him. Look, just look at the size of him. His camera really can't.
No, yeah, the camera's not doing it.
It's just not doing it. I've got a picture of Jay holding him on my website with two hands like this.
Yeah.
You can see. I mean, how old is he, Jay, now?
He's just
over a year.
Just over a year.
And I mean, Kevin could probably say this. I mean, for a super giant to reach its full potential, I always say to people, do not breed them for 2 to 3 years. Wow. If you breed them, they will stunt their growth. Yeah. In my opinion, from what I've seen.
I agree.
So kind of like an Agramanu, where you got to wait 2-3 years. Well, they won't even breed. A super giant will breed, but you're saying you'll slow them down.
Yeah, because when they breed, they stop feeding and they're using all their calcium reserves and whatnot. I mean, I wish I could come to America and see what the monster Kevin's got. I mean, you wouldn't want him up your nose for a bogey.
Kevin just said he's down with naming that gecko Kevin, so he supports it.
No worries. I think we'll make that happen. He's going to grab the female. We also have the direct son of 4 back there. Yeah, you can bring him out if you want. He's a little bit less. I think a little bit less than a year old. I don't remember his exact hatch date. I think he's coming up a year in around September. I think he comes up a year.
Well, the gecko
maybe a little bit less.
The gecko I just showed was a cross. This is a direct.
This is direct from the world's largest.
From 4, and I mean, he is big. This is. But again, you can see the rolls on the. Don't want to disturb him too much. The rolls on the sides. I mean, there is something definitely there. I don't know whether it's big gecko, small organs. I don't know. I still got a lot more to do with them. But look at that gecko.
It's gorgeous.
He's under a year old.
It's amazing.
I mean, trempers are quite big anyway. And so, I mean, he's a monster. I can't wait to use him, Jay.
Yeah.
It's just his head. The head size is just intimidating.
I mean, the structure. I mean, with your normal Leos, you get like almost a bit of a neck, and it's just wide. It's like what you said with Shaq. They're just big all over. And I know, like on camera, it probably looks quite chunky. They stay quite slim, super giants. I mean, as in, if you look at the size of the animal, they stay quite.
I will say,
it's all proportionate. It's not a fat animal. Yeah. It's just a proportionately big gecko. All his features are big.
Yeah, I raised both of these geckos, and I feed them like I would any other gecko. However, they don't. I find they don't feed like other geckos. They will eat maybe 3 to 4 Mario worms or locusts at once, and then for a week they won't eat.
Yeah, they even when they stop eating, they seem to still grow.
Yeah, I tend to try especially when I'm seeing these rolls and I'm seeing like the big necks. I try and cut them down, but if I cut them down any more, that even my females are eating more than them. Do you know? The last
thing you want to do is pile on a load of food, because they will eat. When they go for their eating phase, they will just keep eating.
I can't seem to control the growth. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I can't seem to control the rolls, the tail. I can't control it. No matter what I do, I can't control it. It's my first season growing super giants. I'm not experienced enough to comment on the if it's a gene or line bred, but from what I also understand and the research I've done, it's a line bred trait, really.
I mean, now Kevin's in the house.
Well, Kevin wants to know real quick. He wants to know if you've created any normals, super giants, or is everything carrying tremper or something?
Everything's with tremper, unfortunately. I've still got so much to do. Everything's with tremper, unfortunately, so far.
Is Kevin out crossing? Is he outcrossed like wild type or something? Are you trying to clean that down to no genetics?
It'd be nice to see what Kevin says, because what Kevin's done with the Supergiants, he's done a lot more than what I have. I mean, his one he hands out at his shows and everything. It looks like it would break your arm, but I mean, I just love, and like I say, I've never come across a dull giant. I've spoke to a few other giant breeds, and I've said, if you ever come across, even with trempers, you can still come across a dull tremper. Even with your normals, you can get a dull normal. I've never come across a giant that looks dull. Never.
He's got great color.
He's awesome.
He almost looks.
We haven't even got any lights. Lights on in here.
That's a tremper, also, right? He almost looks. He almost looks like a bell with the brown head pattern and. Is that the copper gene that does that?
Nope. No, this one is just straight from Thor, so just your normal tremper.
Yep.
Just
He's
right down
possible
the middle.
head clip. This one.
I mean, the one I just bought out with the copper cross, I mean, does have pastel in the gene. I wouldn't label him as a pastel, but you can see the influence, almost like a high contrast as a colour enhancer. But yeah, he is awesome. I'm a bit jealous, Jay. I hate you.
Look at that tail. You know what? It's the same thing, George. Fairy sends a gecko to Jay, and it ends up being better than anything Fairy has. You give Jay a couple geckos, and they turn out amazing. It's the guy's like, he's like magic. He's just the luckiest freaking dude.
Yeah,
there's skill involved too, but people give him animals, and they turn out to be the best in the world. And it's like, what the frick? I want it back.
The key is to have fun. The key is to have fun. It's a hobby. We should all just have fun with it. Things pop up out of nowhere. Until you stop having fun and you start getting a bit strict with it, that's when things go downhill.
Nah, it's got to be fun. So speaking of fun, you got to tell me, Jay, is that a stripper pole behind you? It is, isn't it? Oh, yeah.
We're good friends.
I'd like to say no, that's something to do with geckos, but
I ruined that.
Oh. I kept looking at it, and I'm like, what the heck is that? That's a stripper pole.
We was going to say it's a structural for the house. But,
yeah.
He's like Magic J. Magic J, not Magic Mike. Multi-talented, man. You got all kinds of stuff going on over there.
I must say,
oh wait, go back to Kevin on mutant. He made a normal this year. He said it's small. Kevin says I made a normal this year, but it's small.
From what? From what? Normal supergiant?
Yeah, normal supergiant. So Kevin, elaborate on that a little bit. You bred a supergiant to what size normal? It was just an outcross, I assume.
I mean, I have paired supergiant to supergiant and had a non-giant gecko come out, but that giant, and this is what I did have a conversation with Kevin. We're talking about the head. I have had a supergiant baby who came out completely normal, nothing unusual, and that I have paired that gecko back to a supergiant, and it has produced giants, which makes me think could possibly be a het. But then again, it could be like we were saying with tall humans. It could just be. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, no, I'm definitely interested. Kevin, honestly, I always watch Kevin's Instagram. I mean, Kevin's done a bit more with supergiants than I have. But yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. It would be brilliant if it is a het. I mean, I personally looking more down the line bred trait. Big gecko to big gecko will make a big gecko. Black knight to black knight will make a smaller gecko. Black knight to a cross, it'd be a little bit bigger than a black knight to black knight and whatnot. But yeah, there's so much. Even with supergiants, there's so much to do with them, especially over here in the UK. No one's really working with them.
That's a good opportunity.
In fact, a lot of UK people, a lot of breeders have messaged me and gone, we actually think the giant gene isn't actually a thing. So I think it is. Once you see them, I mean, the camera, you've worked with them, Gino. You know they are definitely bigger.
It's phenomenal. I love them.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I got the shirt on. Size matters.
Where's my shirt?
I'm sending it. I got to send it. Especially, you got to send me a video with this shirt on the stripper pole.
I will send you a video naked on this pub. Jay will tell you I will.
You don't
Oh, I don't even. I might not be able to unsee that. It'll be like just stuck in my head forever. Let me see if I can get something here. And I don't weigh that often. I mean, I weigh babies and because I want to be able to list how many grams they are if I'm trying to sell them or whatever. But like my adults, I might weigh them at the beginning of breeding season, at the end of breeding season, and then so a couple times a year. So I don't even know how big, like my breeder black knights are, but I don't
Sometimes
know.
I find with overweighting is, well, me personally, and Jay, and I know Jay's the same. Jay is one of those people that he's on it. Do you know what I mean? Even with feeding. Sometimes with weighing geckos every week, if you notice a gecko losing a gram or two, sometimes you can build up a little bit of a paranoia in yourself. And that's why every week, every time I clean my geckos, I weighed them. And then I started noticing I was getting too paranoid with them. They're animals, they go through their spurt. Sometimes they don't want to feed for a week or two. But just because they've lost a gram or two doesn't mean there's an issue. And then it was coming to the point where I was going to the vets every 5 minutes. Oh, my gecko's lost 5 grams. Sometimes you just need to if you're visually, if you look at your gecko, you can genuinely tell if there is something seriously wrong.
Yeah, and I'm in there at least 3 times a week, and every bin, and once a week I've got it in my hand, every gecko, because I got to clean. Now babies, even though I'm in babies every other day because I spray them and feed them every other day, but I might not see them for a week because a lot of them will hide, and I'm running through the rack, and I'm okay. I know it's in there. Spray, mealworms, next, and then that once a week when I clean and I lift up that hide, it looks like a different gecko than a week ago. So I love baby cleaning day. Baby cleaning day takes forever because they poop like freaking ponies, and they don't want you to pick them up for the most part. So you got to do a little corralling to get them in. Let me see what I got over here. Go back to the full screen.
Gino getting the big guns out.
What are you getting, Gino?
Take his time, isn't he?
Yeah, fucking hell, come on.
You're going to have to use the phone.
I can't believe you jumped on the pole.
Eh?
I can't believe you jumped on the pole.
So this is a girl from last year.
Nice.
She's a pure.
Oh wait, hold on.
What's the matter?
I want to take off the.
You just zoom. Oh. Technical. Today has been the day of technical. So she's, like you were saying, she's got a pattern.
Yep.
Little pattern. What's funny is some days she'll look, you can't even, ooh, I caught her. You can't even see that pattern. Today you can see it.
Yeah, I've found this a lot. But I found with real true, I told you last time I was on the live show, I told you with real true black knights with no colour, temperature influence, you will find that they will stay black no matter what. Especially with my void has never ever changed a slight, not even a shade, unless shedding, of course.
So this is the girl. I'm gonna put her back and grab another one. This is the girl that popped out 7. I'm gonna put her on a scale. She popped out 7 clutches, 6 good clutches, 12 babies.
That's very good.
Good.
My biggest black knight female weighs, did before the season, 75 grams. I did post a photo on Instagram just to prove that. My male, however, is about 65, 70, and he always sits around there.
So this girl is 47 grams. So she's probably normally running, 50, 55, but 7 clutches later, we're holding 47. And she looks great.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, 100%.
I love the Black Knights with the slight patterning, the gold almost patterning. I love it. I prefer it to the Jets, personally.
Yeah, I like that Goldie pattern too.
I wasn't expecting that.
What happened?
I switched to them and they're like, no.
Thank you very much.
What were they doing? Were they on the pole again? So here's another holdback from last year. And you can see very faint. She's got some calcium on her. Very faint line. Jet black head. I'm finding. Where's the phone? I'm finding. Are you seeing like if they? I'm trying to figure out if this is consistent. If they hatch with a bit of a head pattern, I'm finding that they don't end up as dark as if their head's solid black, like this girl.
So what I've found is, as they hatch and develop, you will see a brownish tone to them where the pattern is. Can you see, like on your other female, you see that brownish?
Yeah, that's all back here.
So that is where the pattern, it is there, but the black is covering it up. However, that pattern can show up again. It can. That's where she'll fluctuate. You'll see that where the pattern is, the brown, she can turn, those brown patches can turn back to full pattern without any black.
Yeah, like they fire up and fire down.
Yes,
almost
exactly.
like a crested.
Yeah.
You wonder if, like with a crested, it's on, or the theory, I don't know, I breed cresteds, but I'm not a crested breeder by any means. The theory is that the different pigments are in different layers of the epidermis or the skin. So, one might be on the first layer or one on the second layer. And then they show different, oh, that's a good pick. They show different layers depending on, their mood or whatever.
Yeah. I wouldn't know too much about the crested gecko scene or what makes them fluctuate. However, I wouldn't say that's the same with Black Knights. I would personally say it's all to do with heat.
Yeah, you have one of the best crested geckos in the world too, man.
She's pretty good.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, she's nice. When she fires up, that crested gecko is out of this world. I've showed it on stream last time. Pure black with a golden crest on the back. Absolutely amazing. However, I've not had any fertile eggs from that pairing yet. I do have an egg from the lily white Hexantic pairing so far. And that's about it with my crested gecko season. However, I've still got a lot of pairings too. I've got 3 pairings to do in total. My male is just not showing any interest in females at all, unfortunately. Hopefully, I managed to get the Exantics to breed this season and pop a visual. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Definitely, especially when now they're coming more available.
Yeah.
A lot of people have got 50% this season, and obviously Jay's got the head start with 200%. So
yeah,
100%.
So I was looking in the wrong rack, for crying out loud, and I just cleaned Friday. So look at all this poop. This is the Gem Snow Black Knight, and that's a normal.
Yeah.
You can definitely see the Black Knight in the gem, 100%. Again, it almost looks carbon.
Yeah. It's starting to yellow a little bit. It was, at hatch, it was black and silver. It looked like a Raiders, like the Las Vegas Raiders mascot. It was cool. But this is the first year I've crossed those in, so I haven't seen how they develop.
I discussed with another breeder about getting the the German tug over this season. However, they won't be ready for maybe next season or maybe the season after. I do want to cross the gem and the tug into the Black Knights, but at the same time, it's not a priority. The possible snow stuff and whatnot. Also, I was going to say the new I can't say. Joe would love that one. Melanistic, yeah, I can't say it. The black crested gecko, new gene with the cappuccinos being the lower form and the melanistic being the super form. That will be imported into the UK, I think, in 2 years from me. So that'll be a nice little touch to add to the antics, won't it?
That's it, mate. 100%. Again, another new morph. You still unlock so much with it as well.
Yeah.
I just love how they look blue.
Yeah, yeah. One's at altitude pops, unreal.
I grabbed the wrong bin. Those were males.
No worries. Oh, it's tank setups too.
All bio, mate.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say?
I go back to them anytime you're not there.
All right, this is the last.
"No."
This is the last bin I'm gonna pull. This is. Look how different. It's so obvious which one of these is gonna be spectacular,
Oh yeah.
Jesus, yeah.
right?
Yep.
Both temperature, sex, female. Very faint little pattern right there.
Yep.
Jet black head. That's going to be a solid tail. That's going to be a nice one.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see if
Really
I can get
nice.
them out of the way. Move, please. Come on, go to the other side. I don't want to squish you.
Would y'all rather me do this?
They don't like full screen. All right. Took forever because I use H's and a number for regular leopard gecko hatchings, and I use a B with a number for black knight and black knight crosses. And I'm over here in the rack, and I'm like, I know that gecko is H5. Well, it's B5, and I'm pop open H5, and it was a super. I think it was a super snow white and yellow bell, and I'm like, that's not a black knight. And so I thought maybe I had the number wrong, so I'm looking next to it, and it was a tremper, and I look on the other side, and it was a tangerine. I'm like, where'd all my black knights go? I was in the wrong rack. So, man,
He
I gotta
gets
stop.
flustered almost.
I got to stop doing Sunday lives. I think by the time I get to Sunday, I'm just spent. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't do it. We have technical issues. I can't find geckos. I got all kinds of problems today. But we made it. We made it. And it was worth the wait because we have a stripper pole and everybody got to see George on.
You wait until the end of this stream. That's all I'm saying.
We're going full screen. Full screen.
Yeah, oh, yeah, just me.
Go to Q&A and let's see if anybody has any burning questions. We can.
Yeah. I'm just going
I
to
don't have anything.
run to the toilet quickly. I'll be back in about 2 minutes.
On the way back, grab that crested gecko too. Everybody wants to see.
Do you know what? She is due to lay eggs at the second.
20?
She is.
Leave her alone. Yeah, leave her alone.
I am not showing you all her.
Anybody have any questions about?
Yeah, come on.
Hit all the questions, but we've
Hit us
gone
with some
on
questions.
long.
Yeah, well, we gotta see if Jay's going number 1 or number 2. That was a question, I think. So we see how long. It's live TV, so we gotta stretch until he gets back.
Did you ever answer this one, maybe?
Yeah, Kevin, this is really a question for George. Kevin wants to
Yeah.
know if you think tremper gene is linked to the supergiant.
I would say yes, it is, because of technically the supergiant gene came from pretty much the tremper, really.
That's
if you
right.
ever look at supergiants, you see a lot of trempers. Most supergiants, and what my aim is with the supergiants is to not make normal standard giants. Whenever I look at a giant, it's normally just your straight tremper, just your big tremper. I don't know whether necessarily. I think it personally is. I don't know whether it necessarily is because there is a lot of bell giants too, and from my experience with the bells I have, the males seem to get big.
Yeah.
Whereas rainwaters, I've recently purchased the rainwater from LM Geckos over in the USA, and they stay so small. They're tiny. But yeah, no. What Kevin said, I do think they came from tremper. Yeah, I do.
So, Elliot, the tremper gene, there are 3 albinos, tremper, bell, and rainwater. And the interesting thing about those 3 different albinos is they're on different rungs of the DNA ladder. So the alleles don't line up. And so if you breed a bell albino to a tremper albino, you won't create an albino. But what you did was you just created a mess, because now you created animals that are all 100% het bell and 100% het tremper.
Yeah.
And
A lot of
you
people don't
really
realise-
muddied it up.
Exactly. A lot of people, someone like myself and yourself, Gino and Jay, we've been working on a certain project for so many years, and you might buy a gecko and somebody has been naughty and paired a tremper to a bell, and it just completely ruins your project. Sometimes you don't even know about it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's different with a giant. It's different if you've labelled a giant and it ended up not turning to be a giant. It's a bit different because of it's annoying. Don't get me wrong, but it's not going to affect the genetics of the animal. If that
That's
makes
right.
sense.
No, and I think, is there a need to test breed an animal and see if it has hidden bell or rainwater or tremper? Sure, but don't sell them as without.
100%.
I would sell them as pet geckos and not give you any of the genetics. That's a $50 animal, and
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Yeah, good. That's a brilliant point to make. I mean, I know there is some people out there, and I've seen some things, especially on Facebook. A lot of people are pairing 2 albino strains in the hopes of making something new. Which is, I mean, we all can have fun, and we're all breeders, and you can pair things, but please don't sell them to other breeders as like, oh, it's 100% het tremper, when you know there's bell involved in too. Because like we say, I mean, to import animals over to the UK costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
And we're bringing a lot of animals over for new projects, fresh blood, and there's nothing worse than being sold something that it isn't.
Yeah.
Especially with bell. And if, for example, if I put a post out that I've got a bell, a het bell, het tremper in my collection, a lot of breeders will be like, no, Elite Geckos, you're gone out of my category.
Yeah, can't.
And it just ruins someone's reputation overall.
Yeah, I understand. Ella asked about African fat tails. I work with fat tails. You guys don't breed fat tails? She asked about she asked about the white stripe. I think it's dominant. I don't see any, for it to be, incomplete dom, I don't see any difference in a super form, if there is such thing as a super stripe form. So I suspect it's dominant. On a personal level, it depends on the morph of the gecko. Some geckos I really like the stripe, and some I don't. So, like a patty, I prefer 'em not to have a stripe. So, an Emil, I want a stripe. So it just depends. It's a personal preference. And then Ryan T at Recco, he also has the Gecko Talk podcast. Is how do you think Cypher will play out in the next few years? And Jay, I'll give this back to you, because you've expressed, prior to now having to go figure out a whole new genetic, you had expressed some interest in Cypher last time we talked.
So I originally did, and I thought I had a project to go for. However, seeing a lot of the ciphers and how a lot of them by adult lose the stripe and whatnot, I personally think with the correct line breeding, that's going to be something really special and nice. I think I now changed my mind. I think it's a little bit too early for me to jump in that, only because now I've got the snow to concentrate on. Yes, if I was to import a cipher, it'd be a visual male cipher. I did speak to Gecko about it. I did say put me on the list, and if he has already reserved me on that list, then I will follow through with that and import the male. However, I probably won't breed him this season, and I will wait. I think that's the best option for me, is to wait the cipher. How it's going to go and whatnot, I think there's great potential if that stripe can be line bred even further. I think there's great potential with that morph.
Yeah, I'm not excited about the eye mutation. I mean, it's another eye mutation. It's the color enhancement and the pattern enhancement that I'm excited about. Yeah, and I'd like to see, as John rolls it into bells and other things.
Exactly. Yeah. Too early.
Yeah, he creates phenomenal animals. So
100%.
It'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
So I think Cypher's early. I think it's certainly exciting, and we're gonna have to see. Blue Amber Eye. I know Kevin works with Blue Amber Eye. He was one of the early guys to get on Blue Amber Eye. I don't know a lot about it. I've never seen one in person. I've seen pictures. A lot of work. I think it popped up in the rainwater line with Helene. And so the work over the last couple of years has been to get it out of rainwater and then spread it. So I haven't seen a whole lot of new stuff.
What would be nice with the Blue Amber Eye is they're visually a stunning animal. They almost have that stonewash look to them. But it'd be nice to see that line bred to get that eye like when you think Blue Amber Eye, you think, the eyes must be really blue. But when you see pictures, it's really zoomed in. You see that tiny hint of blue, but it'll be awesome with line breeding in years to come to get blue out.
Really pop it out. That would be cool. Because we're dealing with all kinds of different variations of the normal leopard gecko eye, right? Some are crazy, some are just normal. But then you get into even Eclipse. I mean, Eclipse can display itself, 50 different ways. So some people love solid black, some like the half moon. It's just personal preference.
It's just silver, just silver eyes.
That's nice.
Yeah, and then you start getting into like the albinos with the red and the ruby eyes. Blue would be crazy. That'd be really crazy. Kevin says dominant. I assume that was back to the stripes on the African fat tails, because Kevin does some great work with African fat tails too. I love fat tails. They're just big teddy bears. Yeah. What else you guys?
I just found African fat tails a little bit more finicky than leopard geckos. I mean, it's sometimes going to be a bit difficult to get the hatchlings to feed. Just my opinion. I just found them a little bit slower, a little bit. Yeah, they just never really. I did have a African fat tail as a pet. I just found them as a bit of a slower Leo, in my opinion. As an adult, they're pretty lethargic. I've opened bins before, and I was like, "Oh God, he's dead," and I poke him, and then he looks, and I'm like, "Oh no, he's alive." Babies are hilarious. They're ferocious. They hiss, they tail whip, they'll bull rush you. They're funny. Completely different than when they're adults. Adults are just teddy bears.
that was handy dandy working the sound effects. They are fit. They grow a little slower, and food is an issue. A lot of people shy away from them because they don't like crickets. This season is my first season where I have the babies eating mealworms, dubia roaches, and crickets. And I would say about half of them are eating mealworms, about 70-80% are eating baby dubia, and obviously all of them are eating crickets. So I'm trying to raise them on a varied diet to see if that'll carry into adulthood. I don't know. It's first season I've tried it. Last year I was in Canada, and dubia is illegal in Canada, so I didn't have an option to try dubia. So far, looking good. We'll see. We'll see if it carries. Ryan wants to know. I got to put my glasses back on. What do we got up there?
This was the first question here.
Go back up to right after.
This one?
Yeah. Do you transfer your eggs to the male incubator to enhance colors? I don't. So
I have tried this season with my Diablo Blancos. I've tried it. I don't know what the outcome will be. They're a TS female, and I thought I really want to enhance the white this season. I'm gonna try it. They went from 29 to 30. They did 29, 30, 31. Not a big difference, but I don't think it will have much of an effect. Like, some people go to me, do you put your male Black Knights as male for 2 weeks and then in the female incubator? I go, no. I feel that's more dangerous for the animal to have it forming at a higher temperature and at a rate and then dropping it. I think that is
causing the damage.
Yeah, I think that might cause some damage. I don't really want to be doing that. So
yeah, I don't mess with it at all. I have 2 incubators. I have
the same here behind me.
One's for males, one's for females. They stay till they hatch.
Also,
Now,
you don't want to manipulate a gecko through temperature. Like, I've got let's say I've made my incubator really quiet. Yep. A really black gecko comes out, and Jay's the one who told me this today, and I totally agree with him. And once you get that gecko, even though it hatched dark because you manipulated the temperature of it, as soon as you put that gecko in a tub, a heat mat, that gecko's going to go poof, like normal.
Bloom.
And you're going to have somebody saying, Jay, you sold me that gecko for $1,000.
Artificially created dark geckos, not.
It doesn't work out. Look like your midnight blizzards. Jay's gone to me. Look at that midnight blizzard. Oh wow! 10 minutes later, just your blizzard.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think Sasabek may have made that famous, but he didn't have 2 incubators. He didn't go from 80 degrees to 90 degrees, which I think would be risky to take an egg up 10 degrees like that. I think he had like 5 incubators separated by 2 degrees, and every week he moved. And I don't even know if it was for color. I think what it was doing was, by the time they got to the last incubator, he knew that's where all his hatches would be. He didn't have to go look through 5 incubators to see if he had hatchlings. They would all be in that incubator. So
I do believe that would be the safest way to go about that. 100%.
It's a space though, isn't it? Sobek, he's the facility he's got and the backing he has.
That's Ryan's got a question about what subspecies within Eublepharis do you think will have a morph of its own in the coming years? And you thought, was it the Afghans? We thought it was a snow coming out of Georgia's Afghans, but that's not true.
I think I did hear, I don't know whether this is true or not, I did hear possibly maybe something about the snow coming from a Montanus. I don't know whether the true in that. I've never experienced it or looked into it myself. And I mean, a few people I spoke to as well had maybe thought has somebody introduced a subspecies into the supergiant to make it as big as it is? Because I can't remember the name of the subspecies supergiant. I know, not supergiant, the subspecies gecko. Kevin has. I mean, yeah, like, and
Agremania.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was added in later on into a Leo to try and get that big gecko.
Yeah, I think that's been debunked. I don't think a macularis can breed with Agremania. Now, you can subspecies, you can macularis, Afghanicus, Fuscus, Turkmenicus, you name it. I think the answer to that question, Ryan, is whatever subspecies is being worked with the most, because genetic mutation, it's numbers. So if I produce 10 geckos, if I produce 10 Afghans and I produce 10,000 Turkmenicus, then I'm going to get a mutation in Turkmenicus because there's more. So it's a numbers game.
100%.
Do you guys? Well, George, you work with subspecies. Do you have other subspecies?
The only thing I work with is I did have a Montanus just as a pet. The only thing I work with is leopard geckos. Before I'd done leopard geckos, I was chameleons, but it's always been leopard geckos. And this year I've started working with crested. But crested is a whole other ball game. But yeah, I've had a fat tail and a Montanus just as a pet, and it's always been leopard geckos for me. It's always been Leos.
Jay, you've got cresteds.
Crested, hognose, and leopard geckos at the moment. I do have a sailfin dragon that I've raised. Where I'm going to donate him to a larger sanctuary or a zoo or something, because due to having to hold back at least 50% of all my babies this season, I'm gonna have to upgrade the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've noticed subspecies. Now talking about subspecies, I mean, they seem to make a bit of a break recently. I've seen so many fiscuses, and I used to run a courier company for transporting reptiles from A to B in the UK. Unfortunately, I had to stop it. It was too stressful, and having people's animals, and you can understand. I mean, the stress of making sure everyone's animals delivered safely is just got the best of me. But I saw a hell of a lot of African fat tails this season. I've actually a few hard wikis too, a few Montanus, and quite a few fiscuses. So I think they are making a break for sure.
I'm getting a lot of breeders asking me, "Do you know who's breeding this, that?" I'm going, "Not a clue."
Yeah.
Did you see that picture of that hard wiki that Kevin popped out?
Yes, with the was it with the stripes, wasn't it? Or
yeah,
I think
quite possibly the first in the world.
Yeah.
Everybody that asks me about a subspecies, I send them to Kevin.
Yeah,
Hard wiki was awesome. Is awesome. I carry Turkmenicus because I use them for outcrossing. So I generally produce a handful of pure Turks a year just because I need them for projects, for outcrossing projects. But that's the only non-macularis leopard gecko that I work with. There he is on his bold stripe hard wiki. I mean, obviously I have fat tails. Probably will produce. I was hoping to get to 100 fat tail babies this year, but I'm not going to make it. Probably going to end up around 70, and which will be the biggest year I've had for fat tails. Leopard geckos probably produce 250 this year. And then crested geckos, I only have a 1-3. I have a 1-3 group of cresteds, a 1-2 group of gargoyles. I have a 1-1 Acera sonorum, but the female is subadult, so they're not breeding this year. If they do, it'll be fall. And then my favorite that I've been working with is the Eurodactylodes. They're freaking awesome. The chameleon geckos. Look at all that poop on that Strudy's hide. Zoom in.
Look how fat.
Big, isn't she?
Yeah, she's a nice size.
So they, yeah, she's. Oh, her hide fell. That's why she's out. I would say she's normally not out, but she's pissed because her hide fell. So I got to go suction cup that back up.
Whoops.
But she's due to lay. She's digging right now. They're in a bioactive, which is a pain in the butt finding eggs. George, I found babies in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, same with my lot back there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get better results with having substrate in there, just with the humidity and
Yeah.
everything. Sometimes the paper towel can go a bit mouldy too soon. And
Yeah,
with the clean-up crew in there and everything, and even when they do lay eggs when you're not there, the substrate will keep it okay. Like you showed, Gino, they can just hatch in.
Yeah.
Well, that female that she just had up, I find empty eggs periodically, never babies. So that's why she's so fat. She eats them. And then the female right next to her, which is just right there. This one, that's the one that I found the babies in. I pulled six or eight babies last season out of her bio. She doesn't need them. So I don't hunt as hard in hers because I've never found her to eat one. The big girl over in the corner, I'm looking for eggs all the time because she just eats the babies. And then this is the male directly behind me, and that's a first-year breeder. I don't have eggs from her yet. But the Urodactylotes are so cool. The little tiny, I work with three of the four. So I have a 1-2 group of Agricoli, a 1-2 group of Velarde, and a 1-1 group of Occidentalis. Got to add some Metricus in there, maybe next season, and then I'll have all four. But they're cool, and they're out. They're out like most of the day. They're nocturnal geckos, just like the other new cows, but they're out and about, and they're so small. They're like the size of your finger.
Yeah.
That you put a 1-2 group in a 12 by 12 by 18, they'll live there their whole life.
Yeah. Brilliant.
They're one of my favorites.
Yeah, for sure.
Any your hands are full with the Black Knight project now, but anything that you wish you could work with? Because you're not just doing Black Knights. You Black Knights, Diablos.
Odin line's quite positive.
So the Odin line, yeah, I think we spoke about this. The Odin, he's probably the size of the four son at the moment. He's just a normal Blazing Blizzard, big, nice big gecko, tail, no fat on the tail whatsoever. And his babies, from last season, I especially found his babies were growing so much faster. They were big. A lot of people that have got these geckos from me, they're probably watching. They will say these geckos, they're always hitting 80 to 110, 120 grams. All of them. Females are hitting 80, 90 grams before a year old. It's a very nice line. However, I don't. It's not a line. I just say. I always mention that's from Odin. If someone's going to come to me,
Odin's got a good following. And
yeah, a
he's
lot of people
big
like
gecko,
him.
and a lot of people like him.
He's a big white gecko.
Big friendly giant.
Yeah, a nice pure white big gecko. However, having him and doing that and whatnot prompt me to import the Son of Four, then import the biggest supergiant female I can find, that is Diablo, Blanco, Snow, or Super Snow, and then go from them two and continue a even better line. And that's just how I want to. That's where I want to go with that. So I hope in a good 2 to 4, maybe 5 years, 6, I'm going to be producing 120, 30, 40 gram pure white Diablo Blanco Super Snows.
That'll be cool.
That's the plan with that. There's a lot of projects in there, midnights to. So I see a gecko hatch. It was a midnight blizzard to a Black Knight, and it almost looked. I say almost looked blue when it hatched. It was a very bluey black colour, and it was very nice. It didn't keep its colour, but I thought maybe with the correct line breeding and whatnot, you can get some really nice geckos from that. So I've started up this season. I've got my main project, and it's always has been with the Black Knights, was the Super Snow Eclipse Black Knights, the Pied Black Knights. That's where I want to be at. Producing like the blackest geckos I could. Yeah, that's brilliant. That's not where I intentionally wanted to land with the project. Now, my season got held back twice now. It's been held back with the Super Snow Eclipse Black Knights and whatnot. Obviously, now with this male popping snows from an unknown source, or unknown strain, I'd say at the moment, it's now made it even harder to carry on that project.
For sure.
I will continue to breed into max snows this season. Next season, I'll test into the other two, but it's more about trying to pair him to a non-dark female that's going to show me what these snows from this male look like as adult. And then I can say, all right, visually, it's not looking like a tug, not looking like this, it's not looking like that. It's not reacting with the Mac, it's not reacting with any super form. Maybe if I pair them together, it might have a super form.
Few years.
Good few years.
Where's the whiteboard? You got this all mapped out? It's going to take a while.
In my head, that
in
is.
your head.
That's where, yeah.
It's exciting. It's exciting. So,
for sure. For a snow to pop from 2 pure line Black Knights, it's exciting for sure. Because then it's not meant. It's from any other line you could probably put it down to they're possibly snowing them, but from 2 pure line Black Knights, it's possibly something good. And the fact that it's popped snow from 2 other females that also aren't snow, it just backs up the evidence. And now the eyes coming out pure black and whatnot, it's just piling up more excitement. I'd say excitement.
Unfortunately, leopard gecko, you just got to work with it. Unlike with ball pythons, if you hatch a het, it's a bonus. If you hatch a het with the leopard gecko,
mess your project like we talked about. You didn't tell me there was bell in there. Now I'm screwed.
Yeah.
And not only is my project screwed, everybody that bought an animal
brought from you. Yeah.
Yeah. So our advantage is, we're egg to egg inside 12 months. And so you can move pretty quick. You imagine if you just pop this snow randomly in a ball python, we're going to be talking about this for 3 years before you can produce another clutch to see if it's there. You're going to know, you're not going to know definitively, but you're going to be much further down the road this time next year.
Yeah, the plan is I'm going to. Me and George discussed about a bandit female of his. It's non-het. He's going to lend me for the season. I'm going to pair the Black Knight male to the bandit non-het, and I'm obviously this will be it'll be better to see visually how if a snow pops, how it develops and whatnot from the bandit female than it would from the pure Black Knight female. Because it's already jet black. I couldn't tell you when that grows up. That's going to be a jet black animal. So I can tell you how they visually look next year if I've just got that to work with.
No, you're right. Jay Netherton said he had a question about a baby. Not sure what the question is, but Jay, if you respond, we'll see if we can help you. George, what are you working? What are you working this year? What's your plans?
Obviously, got my super giants. Working quite a bit with the Green Line project. A lot of stonewash crosses. A lot of blood tangerines, trempers. I've obviously got a few Black Knights to put in there in the mix. I'm a colourful guy. As Jay could tell you, all my geckos are so colourful.
Yeah.
For some reason, last year I produced quite a few bells, but everyone just comes to me for trempers over here. So I'm working more with the trempers and more with my bells. My project with the bells is just gem snow lavender radars. Just something about them, the purples with the bells, it just pops. I've actually bought a lavender white face radar with me, male, so I'll rip him out in a little bit.
Yeah, go grab him.
I'll go and grab him.
Go grab him. I love lavender. I have a lavender bold female from Scarborough she's faded. She's on second year of breeding. So she's faded a little bit. But when I first got her, boy, she was spectacular. We're zooming in on the pole, man.
I will move the camera for you.
The light in here is dreadful.
Yeah. I will switch on this for you, mate.
Very nice.
It's just something about that. Gem and Bell it just does something for me, and it's the white face. It just the eyes. It's just
That's pretty. Pretty. Is that a female?
the male.
Male? Even
He's
better.
gone to a little again. I've got a. It was a tangerine radar crossed to a bold bell eclipse, and it produced this tangerine red. I must get it. It baffles me. I'll show you.
All right, yeah, we'll see what Jay's question is. Put this up.
Go on.
So,
No worry.
the male's a blood tremper eclipse and bred to my female sunglow, and I have 2 dark orange, 2 light orange. Oh, it just went away.
I got it.
2 dark orange and 2 light orange as of right now. Is that just the blood taking over or no? Well, I mean, the sunglow is tangerine, so it's polymorphic.
And is the sunglow tremper tangerine? Because sunglow, from my knowledge, is albino tang.
What, sunglow?
Yeah, sunglow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a blood tremper eclipse bred to a sunglow tremper tang. What was the question?
So he's got
Leave
2
yourself,
light
buddy.
orange and 2 dark orange, and he just wanted to know if the blood was taking over to make them darker.
So
The 2 darker ones.
I haven't worked with blood enough to say.
It'd be a cross. It'd be a blood cross.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
I haven't worked with blood. So
Why? You're basically crossing 2 different tangerine lines: the
Yeah.
sun glow and
Yeah,
the
that's-
blood line. And the parents are gonna create offspring that are variations. So it's just you're just getting random tangerine variations. Some will be spectacular. Some will be more yellowish. It just depends. You can get the same thing if I breed a solid orange tangerine to a solid orange tangerine. I'm not going to get all solid orange babies. Same thing with black knights. If I breed the blackest male and the blackest female, I'm not going to get all patternless solid black babies.
Nope.
Now my odds are significantly better that I'm going to get
that's-
darker babies than if I had 2 pattern black knights, but it's not guaranteed.
Yeah, I agree.
You agree with that,
100%.
Yeah.
My 2 darkest black knights created one of my lightest I've ever hatched. So
Yeah, it just depends. So what do you got here, George?
So this was paired. Well, the parent to this, and this is what's getting my brain rattling. It was a tangerine radar paired to a bold bell eclipse, and it's produced this like red stripe. So I'm just this year just having a bit of fun. Going to see what he produces. I don't know whether you can see the red stripe very well, with a broken stripe. Sorry.
Yeah. I see it. It's
he's just
behind that broken stripe.
That's right, yeah, and it's just something. It's the only one that came out like it, and yeah, as you can see, something with Bell and the bold markings, it just stands out. And for some reason in the UK, everyone's just going absolutely crazy for bells.
I love bells,
They're
especially
awesome.
when you throw white and yellow. I think white and yellow displays the best in the bell line.
Yeah. Especially because they're so bold as well. That white and yellow really.
It's like
get out.
a white and yellow rainwater. You're not even sure if it's white and yellow or not.
Yeah.
I love rainwaters too, but I like orange rainwaters, like the firewater or the firebolts, or I like those colors.
Definitely. Well, I've only got one rainwater right now. I haven't brought it with me today because I've only just had her imported over, and she's a firewater, and the lavender's in her, and like you say, she's nice and orange, and rainwaters are really starting to colour up now. Now people are starting to work with them more and more. Same with like tug snows; they're really starting to get that colour in. But
yeah, I love rainwaters.
Something about him.
I love rain. I had my rainwater projects are pretty derailed this year. I only had a 1-2. I had a pure firewater male, a pure firewater female, original line, and then a white and yellow rainwater female was the other female. And the firewater female, unfortunately, egg-bound, passed away. And the white and yellow rainwater female, egg-bound, passed the eggs, but I think she's done for the season. So I don't think I'm going to produce a single rainwater this year, sadly.
So this gecko is the this is the snow. Just to show again, because in the lot, it's just such a black, and like I said, I've never hatched a animal showing such a rich black color. I'm just gonna try and get the light on this properly for you.
It's amazing.
So it does have bands in it. It has a band at the back and then 2 dots in the middle. However,
It's actually a sticker.
yeah, this isn't a real gecko. It's just a sticker. It is really, it's such a nice gecko, honestly.
Yeah, so for everybody watching, you could see the gecko breathing, so we know it's real. And when he posts pictures of this, you can say, I saw it. Watch it bite him, and then you'll know it's real.
Oh, it will.
I
It
can
will.
see it.
He's eyeballing your thumb right now.
Yeah. So with this pure, when it comes from the 2 pures, the banding on it seems to really. So when it hatched, it was white. All the banding was white. Within the first 12 hours, this gecko went from white and black to black and brown. George, if you look real close, you can see the banding. It's like a reddish
I see a couple
brown
dots.
colour,
There he is.
Yeah, no, it's insane gecko.
It's a very insane gecko.
It looks like it shouldn't be a Leo.
Yes,
The way because it looks like an African
In
fantail
person.
in person.
the blackness is like almost like a cave gecko, also like that.
Yes.
Oh,
that
yeah.
Rich
There you go.
black on it. And I've hatched pure black knight. Some, you've seen what I produce, but this is, I'm telling you, it's something else. It's not.
It's like them high quality tangerines you see. They almost look like they're spray painted.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's not like the pure line of black knight. This gecko. And it's the same with one of the crosses from the other Max Snow. The banding seems to be so greyed out and browned out, and like it's almost like a reddy brown.
It's gorgeous. For it to impress you, it's got to be amazing. Put Tyla back up. She had a question for George. Tyla wants to know, George, if other than Bells and Supergiants, any other morphs that you're working with or interested in working with?
I mean, this season, because I was a reptile courier company, I was lucky to pretty much the whole of 2020. I had first dibs in everyone's projects because I was going to their house, picking up their geckos, delivering them for them. It got me in a lot of trouble because I spent probably a little too much money.
That's smart, though.
I've got tug snows from the original line. I've got red diamonds. Well, one red diamond, not red diamonds. Got a red diamond. I've got so much going on. Bloods, green lines. I've got an amazing bunch of green lines. Even Jay was like, that male. It's insane. I mean, I'd say this season is probably my season. I'd say I'd like to hope so. That's when I've been working the most for it. I mean, I haven't done too much in the hobby to say, I helped out in that, and that's what I want to do like Jay's doing. Like I'm working with the Black Knights, producing different things. I've got a lot of stuff going on.
That's great. We always have little side projects. Jay sent us a picture of one of his most gorgeous males. Let me. You got it? Whoops.
Oh,
There it is.
Is that a text?
No, that was the message from him.
Is
Well,
that a
that's
bell?
got some nice reds and oranges in there. That's pretty. Some lavender.
Yeah,
Nice gecko, Jay.
very nice.
Look at that tail. Gorgeous.
Mm.
Very nice.
I love it on the head too.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
some of them are just amazing.
You guys love head stamps.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's one thing you should talk about.
That's your
the
thing?
Smiley head. It's something with the supergiants. My supergiants have been popping out this smiley head. It's been happening for a few years now. I wouldn't say it's genetic or like, oh, there's going to be a smiley head morph. I wouldn't say that. I'll say it's more line bred. But it's something, and a lot of people in the UK know me for it. A lot of my geckos have a big smiley face across their head. It's something about head stamps. And like Jay said, there's nothing like a tangerine with those perfect dotting on the head. Yeah, I mean, we love our funky morphs here. I know a lot of German breeders and USA, they like their Murphy patternlesses and like things being quite clean. But yeah, over here we like them as messier the better.
What is? I'm not a ball python guy. Is it the pied? They always have the smiley face on.
Smiley. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Let me go and get you a smiley female. I'll give you an example.
Okay. Put Robin or Robbie up. Robbie hatched 2 babies out of 1 egg. I've seen it. I've heard of it. I've never had it happen. Have you ever had that?
No.
No. The other one's not interested in eating. I would separate them if you have them together. Separate them because the bigger one's out competing for food. And then try some different things. I hate assist feeding. It's a last resort. But try varied food. When I have a picky eater, crickets seem to stimulate hunting reflex. And then you can try waxworms and fattier foods, small dubia, things that'll plump them up.
Yeah, I personally use the locust, baby locust, to feed my hatchlings. I find great success letting the locust walk into their hot hide.
Yeah.
I'll get a picture.
It's almost, a few people have actually messaged me and said that reminds me of almost pinto, but it's definitely not pinto, but you can see that smiley head.
That's cool.
And it does seem to be passing down. And I just love it. It's just something about that marking, and the lavender stripe down the back is just something else.
Yeah, M commented.
I actually saved this gecko. This gecko is probably one of the few geckos I've actually had to cut open the egg myself, and I was pretty certain it was going to die, and it's been amazing.
Very nice.
Yeah, she's insane. I mean, I wish I could show you. I wish I was local, Gino, so I can actually show you these geckos in the flesh.
Yeah,
just because Jay's got his eBay light on. But yeah, no, that's definitely what I've been working for a little bit of time, and a lot of people sort of know me in the UK for messing around with the smiley head stuff. But yeah, everyone has their own sort of thing they love.
Well, I think that's important advice. Everybody, just because you want to breed leopard geckos, don't go out and buy the most expensive black knights you can buy and start breeding them. Exactly. If you don't like black geckos, don't work with black geckos.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. You've got to work with what you like. If you like bells, work with bells. If you like normals, work with normals. You've got to do what you like. Doesn't matter what it is. It's like I say with Jay, I thought he was crazy getting the black knights at first. But now, obviously, the rewards are paying off. And obviously, same with you, Gino. You've obviously had your fair share of ups and downs with the Black Knight morph.
Well, I told this story before. The first time I saw a Black Knight, I thought it was Photoshop. And this is 5 years ago. I said, that's not real. My daughter showed it to me. And she went out and researched and found fairy and proved that it's real. And my next comment was, how do we get them? we got to have those. So off we went. And M made on that assist feed. That's a good point. Force feeding, I hate. Assist feeding, you know, rip that head off or tear that mealworm in half, and kind of put it by their nose or rub it on their nose, force them to lick it. A lot of times that'll stimulate the feeding response. But I find if it's an animal or an insect they have to hunt, like a cricket or a locust or a dubia, it's going to wander into the hide and they're just going to get it. Versus mealworms are out in that dish and they have to find the mealworms. Go put Adam. Adam sent us a couple pictures. This is one of Adam's, couple of Adam's geckos. These are nice. Oops.
Very nice. Yeah, that's nice. I mean, Adam's spoken before on DMs and whatnot. I like the few things he's doing. He's keeping up with Black Knight projects and whatnot. He hatched out, was it the Black Knight
Mandarin?
Tangerine?
Mandarin tangerine. Yep.
Yeah, they were nice. I do plan on doing that, just not this season at the second. So what happened was I had an import from Japan with all my tangs on and an import from Canada with the rest of my tangs on. Both of them fell through. I won't be receiving any of my tangs this season. However, around September, I will receive a bulk of my tangs from Japan, from Aaron and whatnot. I want to cross either the electric or the blood into Black Knight, I think. But I don't think I'll cross the Mandarin Tangerine.
That'll be awesome. I did. I'll tell you, I got to grab something here real fast. Oh, I can't because she needs the power. But you can come back. I did do a cross. I did the Mandarin cross, and Adam is somewhat responsible for getting me to do that because he sent me some of those. I forget the breeder. He calls them Ash, where it's a Mandarin Black Knight, but NDBE.
Yeah, this is so I spoke to a breeder the other day, Liddy
Berger, French, isn't she?
I can't.
Did he? I don't remember.
I can't pronounce the second name. However, did you get her geckos? I will have to link it after this. But the work she does with the Ash and whatnot is amazing. If you see her male Black Knight Ash,
they're cool.
Oh my god.
Well, here's my regret: is I used a female Black Knight and bred it to a Mandarin Tangerine. And what I wish I would have did is I have a Tangerine Tornado from Tug in Canada, and I wish I would have bred that female to a Black Knight male instead of burning a female Black Knight. But it was too late. By the time I committed to the project, the female Tornado had already been paired, so I couldn't rewind that. So maybe next year we'll see what the Mandarin Tangerines look like. But next year we'll consider going Tornado.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see. I think I saw on your Instagram, Gino, you got a MT crossed with a Black Knight. I'm really interested to see. I've actually paired a Black Knight to a blood because I wanted that almost that dirty blood orange color.
Yeah, that's what the goal is, right? Where you want a dark animal that has kind of just some orange hiding under there. Now I don't have any hatched yet. I only one clutch so far, and I might have 2 clutches, and they're cooking. So no hatches yet. We'll see.
Last stream, I didn't give credit. So the dark orange geckos you talked about, the burnt. Have you seen the Afghan in there?
Yeah.
I have an Afghan which is just an absolute perfect fitting for Black Knight Project. If you want to get the orange and black on a gecko, this female is the way forward. The orange itself, bear in mind, there's no Black Knight in this orange. It is a dark like orange. It was from Geckos, Magic Geckos. He produced it. He's in the chat. I forgot to give him credit for it last time, but she would be.
It is an insane gecko.
One of the his orange geckos and the Afghans he produces are some of the best in the world I've ever seen. Out of this world in the red and the dark orange.
He's a very selective breeder. He's a small scale, but
never seen better.
What he buys is exactly what he needs for what he does.
Yeah.
That's great vision. Very focused, right?
Yeah.
The Afghan in question, unfortunately this season I haven't got any eggs from her. That's pretty much on my behalf. But when I do get eggs from her to that Black Knight, those geckos are going to be some of the best tang crosses I'll ever do to Black Knight. 100%.
Oh, we can't wait to see that. Hey, Kevin, have a good night. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you, buddy.
Good night, Kevin.
See you later, Kevin.
You know what? You imagine if we had Super Chat and we put George on the poll, how much money we would make?
Honestly,
we could retire.
Yeah.
When we get to 1,000 subscribers, everybody, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button so next time we go live, George can make some money on the poll. Look, there it is. There it is, man. We're putting George on the poll. And we'll have levels, right? For like $1, I'll get on the poll. For $5, George will get on the poll, and for $100, we'll get Jay on the poll. So.
The next live, I'm going to be like a raw chicken all over that pole.
You're gonna look like a Diablo when it hatches. You're like a skinned chicken.
Oh God!
I want to say a shout out, by the way, because I've just seen his name pop up. Viddy's Pets, Jay knows Lee.
Yeah.
He's probably one of the few people that probably pushed me to go above and beyond. So I just wanted to say a shout out to Lee. Awesome person. He's got some fantastic stuff going on. Yep. He loves his rainwaters, but he's more switched to the ball python. I just want to get that. Just want to get that out there. He's on. Jay can say, mate, if there's anybody you can speak to in the hobby, I mean, Lee. No, sometimes breeders get a bit worried to speak to one another just in case, you shouldn't have done that. Or there's a little bit of nerves involved sometimes. But with Lee, he's always been very informative, and people like that is what you need in the hobby, even if they're not a big name.
He's a gem.
He's one of those people.
He just committed 10 pounds to you on the poll on the next Super Chat. So when we go live with Super Chat. I think I watch... what's Garrett's last name? Hartle? Reach Out Reptiles. He's a super dwarf reticulated breeder in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I love his lives. He has a thing where they do a Super Chat dance. So every time someone sends a Super Chat, they got to do a dance. And we're going to have the poll. We're going to have the Super Chat poll. Ain't nobody going to top that. That'll be the best.
The question is not why am I rolling on it? Why has he got one in his flat or house, whatever you call it?
He said he put it there for you.
I've seen him on it.
Oh man,
that's just house structure.
Yeah, you got a bad roof over there in the living room. Got to fix it. Well, you know what, guys? We've been hitting it pretty hard for a Sunday, and I'm about ready for an adult libation, so it might be about time to wrap it up. What do you think?
Yep,
100%.
100%. Yep.
100%.
Well, don't pull the roof down. This was supposed to be a family show, and it's going sideways because of the stripper pole. But if we're gonna sign out, we got to sign out with George on the pole. So
100%.
George, hit the pole. Hey guys, thanks for being here. We're gonna go full screen with George on the pole. as we bring this thing out. So, oh, look, he knows it. He's got some moves. Look at the moves. Oh, yeah. My man. George, it was fantastic to meet you. Jay, as always, thanks, brother. We love you.
Have a good one, mate.
You got kiss. Give a little kiss. George wants a little kiss.
Not
Little
today.
kiss?
Not today.
All right, guys. Oh man, we appreciate it. Hey, thank you all for tuning in to Luna Live. You know, granted, it was a technical difficulty filled beginning, but we were able to get it done. You know, George and Jay, amazing. Appreciate you guys spending time with us on a Sunday. Don't forget, here at Luna Geckos, every Sunday, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, new episode on our channel. They're not always lives. This was special, and we're glad that we were able to do it. And to support George, don't forget our merch, lunageckos.shop. If you like this video, please like it. Please share it with your friends. Comment down below. And above all, so we can get that super chat feature, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that notify bell. So next time we have these guys on, George can make a little money when he hits the poll. Until next time, I got a pole horn. I'm G. This is Handy Dandy. Handy Dandy.
Oh,
Flip to your screen. Say hi to everybody. There's Handy Dandy working the controls. She's our, what is it? DJ, who's Run DMC.
What are you asking me?
You're the DJ. You're on the wheels of steel over there. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't even be live today because I blew it. So, until next time, see ya.